Scary Alvarez is back. I gave you guys a weekend off, and it was a weekend of high highs and low lows, at least for this dog. Congratulations to the basketball team who went into Chrysler Arena there in Ann Arbor and took it to the number 2 Michigan Wolverines. That was fun to beat them. Just an awesome performance. And unfortunately, later that evening, the Green Bay Packers played amazingly and then decided that we're going to shit the bed and lose to the Bears again. Nightmarish. But it might lead to a new coach. So these are topics other people are covering. Not going to be me on this podcast. But anyway, kind of a mixed bag this weekend. So what are we going to talk about? Wisconsin Badger transfer portal football. What else is there? JKLOL. Want to talk about the portal and one big overarching question relating to it. Is it going to mean anything? And what I mean is, and this has happened for 3 consecutive portal cycles, going on a 4th consecutive portal cycle, when there was alert after alert, Nick Osen post after Nick Osen post, Bucky's 5th quarter post after Bucky's 5th quarter post, heralding the next dude who has committed to Wisconsin in the portal. Former 4-star this, former 4-star that. Previous Badger recruit came in second. And my underlying assertion before we talk about the 2026 portal class is, with exception, and many of those exceptions we found in 2025, which is good news, but the hype relating to the player as a general matter doesn't mean it's going to be everyone, but on average is significantly higher than the payoff we saw on the field, or in some cases never on the field. Because every single person that we get in the portal has a highlight package. Okay, those highlight packages do not have bad plays they took off, penalties, things like that. It's their absolute best. They're going to look good. Most of them, or you wouldn't put on a highlight package. But, you get a Mason Reiger in 2025, absolute whiz-bang A+ from Fickell and his staff in the transfer portal last year out of Louisville. JVR Suggs, guys like that, solid A's. You had some really, really, really strong dudes that contributed to that team and helped make it everything it could be. It sounds like faint praise for a 4-8 team, but there were some hits. And there have been some hits in the past. I think Tanner Mordecai was a hit back in the first portal class. I think other than hitting his hand on a helmet, I think that was probably an 8 or 9 win Badger team that year. That doesn't address future problems, but, here we are. So with that kind of bias on the table that I have, that things have not been outstanding with these guys in the past, I want to take more of a philosophical look at the 2026 class so far, which, by the way, it is a work in progress. There could have been a guy coming in from the time I started recording to right now. By the way, while I have you, please like and subscribe, because these algorithms on this platform are extremely fickle. Fickle like Luke, as the Beastie Boys might have said one time back in the day. And it really helps. So it's appreciated. If you've already, subscribed, I appreciate you. Probably not going to get a Christmas present from me, but you get my appreciation. So the 2026 portal class, at least as far as the vibes inside the Wisconsin room, and by room, I'm saying all of us, bloggers, podcasters, fans, reporters of the team, the vibes have been exquisite. Really, really positive. Seems like every day it's Christmas morning and we go under that tree and we find 2-3 new portal ads to the Badgers. It's been fun. I mean, one of the things that I was kind of battling people on, and I've done some stuff on the pod on my last pod on it, but is the people who are, no matter how cool this is and how fun this is, their attitude is, we don't know what the results are going to be on the field. I'm going to shake my fist. You can't be happy about it. Look, man, I'm not telling you how to fan, but if you want to be happy about it, damn it, man, go be happy about it. Have some joy. Wasn't a whole lot of joy last year over that 3.5-month season. Why not have a little joy in January? The hopes and dreams of a new class, if that keeps your mind off something horrific like the Packers for a couple of days, have at it. I'm a fan of that. So anyway, that's just setting the scene. So the vibes are, though, that's the exception. The vibes are very good. Vibes are very good. Every one of these dudes, like the Lofton kid, for example, who's the most recent. This is a 4-star kid who tons of really, really good schools wanted a couple of years back. The Badgers came in second to Tennessee. He went to Tennessee. Things did not go the way he wanted them to on the field and injury-wise, and now he's a Badger in the portal. That's a nice get. That's a real high upside player. That's a quarterback's worst nightmare if he develops the way that we would hope he would. And Whitlow, I'm not betting against it. But it's interesting to see the kind of, I know there's a national reception. Like, for example, when Wisconsin got Colton Joseph, it was a bit of a, there was some buzz nationally. That was very early in the process, obviously, almost a couple of weeks ago now. But, Badgers, making some noise. And things haven't really stopped since then in terms of the guys coming in. We're getting guy after guy, position after position, ex-Buckeyes, ex-Volunteers, all kinds of dudes, most of whom were bigger high school recruits than what they showed in college. And they're younger, which is a different philosophy of the portal that Fickell's having this year. He's getting some older guys too, but we're getting guys with 2-3 years remaining in some cases. Different philosophy. We're seeing that adjustment of high school recruiting shifting a little bit to portal recruiting, even for young guys. And that's just kind of where we are. I'm kind of agnostic on it. I'm not really that strong or against it either way, but it's a reality. But one thing that I have noticed, kind of making the mistake of looking at the recruiting services, is that we're not getting at least who national pundits are considering to be blue chip recruits in the portal. 4-star, 5-star guys. Like Texas gets, Ohio State gets. We're not getting those dudes. For better or worse, we're just not getting them. I think the last time I looked, I think this might be 247. 23 3-star transfer recruits, 0 4-star. Okay. I don't know. I don't know what this means. I don't know if it means anything. I've said in the past that transfer star ratings are probably less effective and accurate than high school star rankings. It just is. Some of which is name recognition and where they're from and that sort of thing. But, by the most objective measures we can have, this is a sturdy, large class where there seems to be a lot of guys who could potentially do some stuff, but it's not a big blue chip class. Just so there's no mistaken perception, it's not. According to 247, Minnesota has more 4-star recruits in the transfer portal in terms of transfer rankings than Wisconsin does in a much smaller class. So I guess my first position is I wouldn't get too bound up in national recruiting rankings for the portal. I think it's more about, as I said in the past, who else is looking at or who had visits with or who was interested in the same guys. So if you have a quote unquote 3-star portal recruit and you look at the recruiting services or rumor machines, and you find out that person had a visit scheduled at Alabama, there was some interest from Florida, Texas was kicking the tires. This is the kind of thing, and I know it's esoteric compared to a numerical numbers crunching kind of ranking, but it's just what you have to do to get a better sense for how good these guys are. I mean, most of us are not film mavens. Well, we're going to get a guy, see Wisconsin has signed him, and dive into their film beyond the stuff they have posted. I mean, some of these guys all look great on those films. So that's not going to be how it is. So, part of it is trusting that Wisconsin is getting the right dudes, because no one knows what we need more than the coaches inside that locker room. And also, who else is interested? It seems very unscientific, but it's where we are. So just kind of set the scene, kind of laid it out. Okay. I'm gonna give you my 2 cents for what it's worth on where the Badgers are now. Again, with the huge caveat that they're not done. They're not done adding dudes, and they're not done losing dudes. Okay. As we sit here around the 10th, 11th, January 2026, all kinds of activity to come. And the biggest, besides Colton Joseph, the biggest crown jewels of this class may yet be to come. Okay. That's not me breaking a story. It's just very possible. So stay tuned. But my humble fan-based layperson's opinion is it seems like a large number of the players that Luke Fickell is bringing in have considerable upside, and not just the kind of upside you have as a junior in high school. Considerable upside and potential for the Badgers. It would not surprise me in the least if 15 of these guys hit. And by hit, meaning being significant players with rotational floors and much higher ceilings. Okay. You'll notice I say 10 to 15, there have been 23. The corollary is that they're going to be a significant number of dudes when you bring in this many, and they're probably going to end up north of 30, maybe 35. A significant number of these guys are going to wash out, not get time, transfer somewhere else quickly. And that's just part of what you do. That's part of where we are, and that's okay. So I want to be clear when I'm evaluating this. I'm not saying, oh man, Fickell brings in 30 and only 20 of the guys get playing time and only 5 or 6 of them turn out to be really, really good. That's not a criticism. That's freaking incredible and probably stronger than high school recruit would be. I mean, the reality is, despite the fact that there are portal ranking issues with the ranking services, I think you have a better feel for whether a player is going to be a good college player 2 years out of high school than you did whether in high school. Whether they got a lot of PT or not. I just think that's fact. It's not like if they're the kind of player who doesn't get playing time, they're going to add a bunch of highlights when they're not playing. They're not. But you can see how they've functioned on the depth chart, how they've grown, how they added weight, added muscle, whether their strength and speed have increased. So you are in a better position based on your own evaluations to project players. And it wouldn't surprise me, as just noted, if a significant number of these players did well. It's not just the Colton Josephs of the world. I think there's other guys that can. And this isn't the show that's going to go through all those guys. And we're going to have those. I'll probably have some guests on who know more than I do. It's always fun to have those folks on. But I'm telling you, based on my medium community pool depth dive on these players, I feel pretty confident we got some players in there. We got some guys that are going to contribute substantially, perhaps even amazingly, in 2026 and beyond, as I noted, because many of them have multiple years of eligibility. And it seems like they are attacking all of the positions they need to attack. I still have, even with Eugene Hilton coming back, I have a little bit of concern at wide receiver. I don't think we're going to be done in that room yet as we stand heading into the week. And there are still rumblings that there may be additional bodies added to that room. Some of them there's competition for. That's the way it goes. But the way they have hit other positions like cornerback and offensive line, quarterback, now 3 QBs in the room, in addition to who we had. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's sort of like a cautious optimism without incredible, like, slobbery platitudes, which I won't do. It seems to be right now, despite the lack of 5-star and 4-star portal rankings, LOL, that Fickell and his staff are doing the job they need to do. It is pretty clear to me that they're spending money because they're winning recruiting battles with big-time programs for a number of these guys. That's a fact. That is stuff we simply were not doing, or we're not doing at a high enough level in previous transfer recruiting classes. So with the class still a work in progress and the pieces and parts still moving around, I am very confident in the direction of this program right now as it applies to the portal. And I'm really excited to see how Fick and company finishes. I mean, obviously the portal's going to close fairly soon, and then we'll know. But still TBD on some of these dudes. Feeling pretty good about it, though. Let me know in the comments how you're feeling. I do feel like it's a happy time for optimism, divorced from the actual realities of these dudes. But I do think there's some real things to like here. And Scary Alvarez is out.